Welcome everybody to one more episode of We Look at Custom Cards for, why not, just for fun. I'm your host Solem, looking at multiple cards today, one of them being an entire set. Set meaning 7 cards for Freeze Shaymin to make that terrible archetype actually work. Same as last episode, we look at those cards just for fun, not to rate them as good or bad or anything like that, just to think about them. Could those cards see play? Probably not. Would those be fun? Probably yes. Some YouTube statistics said if you mention that X amount of you are not subscribed, which is free by the way, and you can leave a like as well, then people are more inclined to do that, so here was the mention. Now let's get all of that out of the way, look at the first card and think about, could that card see play? The answer is very likely because it's Critical Strike. It only deals 4 damage, which is like Eviscerate, but if you combo it, it ignores. Stealth, Divine Shield, Immune, it's insane. Your opponent has Ice Block and Wild because they play Mage and they're down to 1 health. Yes, that effect might be active, but are they alive? Probably, because you don't draw the card, but if you draw it, they aren't. Hearthstone never had one of those piercing effects, which I think is in Magic, might be wrong, where you can just ignore certain effects and just go through. You can have Silence, you can have effects like, let's say, Plate Breaker to remove armor, but you don't have any damage that is just true damage. And with Critical Strike, you would have that. You could deal damage to anything. Divine Rager, dead. Jungle Panther, dead. Artwork, fits. Name, fits. Epic Rarity, fits. All in all, great card. Thanks for making it. After one Rogue card, there's one more. Visible Confusion, a secret for Rogue. When your opponent plays a Battleground minion, it activates for you instead. So imagine I play Lothar. The enemy spells cost +5 more. But oh no, Visible Confusion. What happened? The enemy had that secret and now my own spells cost +5. It's kind of like misdirection for Battleground minions, which I think is a nice touch. But that might be really strong. Considering that secrets have to be strong in Rogue or they wouldn't see any play, this I guess is on a power level that is alright. It might be a little bit too good. If you played for fun and played for memes and this card wouldn't be broken, I'm all for it. Next, Flaming Shaymin. Right mate, we are British. If your opponent has emoted the last 3 turns, add a Magma Rager to your hand, one of the strongest minions ever. This and Shudderwalk. Infinite value. Magma Rager is one of the best cards ever made, and having this card, which looks like the cover of a death metal album, with premium stats of 1 mana 1/1, giving you Magma Rager, it will make the game so much better. At least the opponent gets punished. I'm not sure if your opponent really gets punished, but let's pretend they get punished for emoting. I'm not too sure if you really want to have Magma Rager in your hand. Maybe you do. Maybe you have some insane combo. Maybe you play Jungle Giants Druid and you need a 5-attack minion. Well, you also play Mage and Shaman, because it's a dual class card. Just don't question it, okay? It's a good card. Then we get a Priest/Warlock card, Imprisoned Girl. So the effect is like insanely broken, because it's like Flesh Giant, but within like 1 turn you gotta change your health 4 times. It's not that hard, it's really easy and wild. And you steal 3 things from your opponent. That's a lot. Also because it reads during your turns, it doesn't need to happen within 1 single turn, but over multiple turns. So you can play this card on curve very likely and you steal 3 things. That's really good for the stats as well. I think it's a little tiny bit too good, especially because it's that easy. In Wild you can play Flesh Giant by like turn 3 consistently for 0 mana. So this card would be active almost every time. Also, that's just me being picky, but the name is pretty long. Next one, Grill. The next 3 minutes your opponent plays are silenced instantly. See, that's like, you have Battlecry, no you don't. Silence is really good, it's a really powerful keyword, and 3 of them, that might be a little bit too much. I would say if this card would exist, I would think this card would see play in every deck. Effect, too good, artwork, fits, name, fits, stats, fits. 3 goods against 1 bad. For that, you get the 75% award. Tyrant, during your turns you can't die. First I thought, this is good. And then I thought about it. It isn't really. So for the fact that it's a priest card, your minions can still get damaged, they just can't die. So it's like casting Commanding Shout. Your minions would remain with 1 health. At least that's what I'm understanding here. And there's also this one card for Hunter and Demon Hunter called Ace Hunter Cream. Not sure about what you encounter, but I have never seen that card being played. And it makes the characters immune. Not just your minions can die, but everything is immune on your own turn. So for that I think the card is fine, but it's also like, why would you play that necessarily? Not too sure, but maybe you know. I like the armor set. Then we get Fog of War, which is something like a field spell. So as long as the card is on the field, which in this case would just be for the rest of this game, there's a certain aura, there's a certain effect going on. And this is like the ogre effect of war. 10% chance to hit something wrong. That's a good effect. That's a powerful effect. Especially if you play, I don't know, Big Priest, and this is only bad for your opponent, and you also draw a card. Yeah, that's a good effect. I at least like the idea of having field spell cards. Like imagine the game board would transform into something else, because it's a virtual card game anyways. You could just put in a different artwork. That would look beautiful, and would probably crash every game on mobile, so it doesn't happen. But it would look really good. I want field spells. Next we got a rock. It deals damage. And then we summon rocks. We summon earth elementals with, I think this one is the 5th elemental lord. Here is my Water Warcraft lore, which might be completely wrong, so take my word for it because I'm never wrong. The 4 elemental lords are Ragnaros for fire, Elekir for storm and wind, then there's Neptulon for water, and guy number 4 for the 4th thing. And according to the lore in the Wowpedia, this is number 5. Goth Mummy right here is number 5 for the elemental lords, so I think this card at least should exist in Hearthstone. Alright, stats for the cost, but it transforms all totems into earth elementals. Here's the question. On your field, in your hand, in your deck, for your opponent too, yes, no, in your collection, Too many questions. If this is only meant for totems on your board, then this is really good in even Shaymin. Like whenever your hero powered for 1 mana, you get a 7/8 taunt. For that. It's a really good value. That's a good investment. Probably a bit too strong, but the artwork looks pretty, fits Hearthstone, and the card should exist in the game. Would be nice. Spell Blight Amalgam. He looks like a flesh giant. He looks like Rotface, and with that I mean beautiful. On the inside. You probably wouldn't play this card, but it gives you value. You get random spells that you don't want to have, and you get corrupted cards you don't want to have. In Arena, great. In any value matchup, great. In reality, it's a 5/6. Then we have Hakugai, the white whale. That's a Weep reference. Have you watched Ray Zero? Because in Ray Zero, that's a whale that is in that anime. Yep, I watched it. Good show. Anyways, 10 mana edit, erase a minion from existence. Imagine your opponent plays Vargheth. You play that, you remove their Vargheth, and then it's gone. In your collection, it disappears. In our memory, it disappears. It's just gone forever. For that, I do like this whale. Good card. And now let's get to all the free Shaymin cards I promised you in the beginning. First we got Ice Ascension, a dual class quest, which we haven't seen yet. 3/6 minions rewards Lich's Touch, which is choose a friendly minion and summon a copy of it, but freeze it. So it's like making Mummies and Paladin, but instead of summoning 5 reborn minions, which are really bad, you 3/6 minions, which is really bad, but then you copy things. For the fact that this would be a quest available in Mage, where you have Frost Nova and Blizzard, it's not that hard to do. But in Shaymin, it's still kinda hard. The effect though, it's powerful. You summon a copy, if you have a taunt minion, your opponent has to attack that, doesn't matter that it's frozen or not, and if they silence the frozen taunt minion, it's not frozen anymore. For that, good quest, I like it. We got Goroth. While frozen, this is +3/+4 taunt and lifesteal. Reminds me of Jacklick in Discard Warlock. Jacklick doesn't see play as a 3/4, which is more or less infinite, but this will be a 3 mana 6/8, and you can copy that with your hero power. I like whatever he's holding, which might be an axe, a hammer, or just ice. Honestly, powerful effect, and if you don't freeze this minion, it doesn't do anything. It's like Spider Tank. Yep, it's just good stats for the cost. We got Break the Ice, deal 2 damage to all minions, freeze any that survive. That reminded me of this potion for Mage, which also deals 2 damage AoE, but everything that survives gets frozen. So if your stuff gets frozen and they get a benefit from that, good for you. If the enemy stuff gets frozen on top of getting damaged, that's also good for you. If you want to attack, but you have to deal damage first and then your stuff is frozen, bad for you. But to actually make this work, you will need to have a lot of cards that benefit from being frozen. If you only have this one legendary, then yeah, your minions being frozen doesn't do that much. But it's a good idea. Then there's a Frozen Mammoth. 1 mana 2/4. Freeze this minion. You have to wait 1 turn. It's like being dormant minus 1 turn, which is like this 1 card in Priest, the 2/5. And then we also have this other card, the 1 mana 2/4, which deals 2 damage to itself. I just like the fact that free Shaymin could actually play a 1-drop that makes sense if you also play the quest, which doesn't exist. For that, I like the Mammoth. Then we have Cold Call, silence a minion if it was frozen, draw a card. This seems really good because you just silence something for free, and if you silence your own stuff or the enemy, you draw a card. So it's like consume magic in Demon Hunter, -1 mana, without the outcast effect. And for the fact that freeze anything is bad, that card is fairly decent. And lastly, Arctic Chamber. Draw 2 minions when you play them, freeze them. If you had Morabi on the board and you get the minions back to your hand immediately, great. You can tutor things so you can draw 2 specific minions from your deck if you only happen to have 2 that you want to draw. And for the upside of 1 mana drawing 2 specific things, it has the downside of them being frozen, which again could be an upside if you turn the outside to a downside from an upside, all those different sides. So to sum this up, Can we just make free Shaymin better? Can we make Morabi like 2 mana? The only way to make it work without those cards that we just looked at is if you play Shudderwock and you go infinite, and then you don't win because of the freeze effect, you win because of Shudderwock. And with those frozen cards, what was your favorite one? Maybe you liked Arctic Chamber, maybe you didn't. Let me know in the comments down below. Feel free to leave a like or subscribe, it's always free. Now in last week's episode I mentioned there should be a link down below where you can submit cards for a specific theme. And then I checked, I have like 2 more weeks of custom cards that we can look at. Do we do 1 more episode of this of custom cards from the cards you guys already submitted? Or do we go with a theme and then have a different episode next week? If you were to go with a theme and you vote for that, then I will let you guys know about that in the next video, which should be there in 2 days. If not, then we just look at custom cards. Thanks so much for watching and take care.